Hello and welcome to Modish Tech. This is the fourth episode of the series where we're trying to find out what should be our key focus areas with regard to SAP BTP in 2024. And this episode is focused on the automation pillar of SAP Business Technology Platform. So, to start this episode, we'll just quickly recap what we have covered in the earlier episodes, and then we'll discuss why automation is important. After that, we'll go into SAP BTP Automation pillar and see what are different runtimes, how do we consume automation, how we create automation projects in terms of developers' perspective, and what are the tools and services available on SAP BTP. After that, we'll cover what was announced during TechEd 2023, which changed automation pillar, or which will change the automation pillar. And we'll wrap up this episode with the upcoming episodes and how you can be part of this series. So let's get started. So we started this series with series introduction episode, where I actually explained why I'm doing this series and what would be the structure of it, what will be the upcoming episodes. If you have not watched that episode, there will be a link on this particular screen which will just appear. You can go and watch it from there. Then we moved to SAP BTP Basics episode, where I actually explained various cloud-related facts. Example, what is cloud? What are different terminologies used in cloud computing world, like software as a service, infrastructure as a service, and platform as a service. I also explained how these landscapes are, the cloud landscapes, which is public, private, or hybrid, and what are hyperscalers. Then I tried to explain SAP BTP with two real-life examples. One was setting up your own startup, and the other one was Indian wedding planning. Then we moved to SAP BTP Basics. We saw the building blocks, different pillars of SAP BTP, and how you can get started. And lastly, we saw TechEd 2023 announcements. We reviewed it, and we saw the platform-specific change, which Joule, with the introduction of Joule, you can see and how it will impact the work we do on a day-to-day basis today. And lastly, we wrapped it up with our recommendations. If you have not watched the episode, the link is displayed on the screen. In the application development episode, we looked at why application development is important and what is the relationship between your company's growth and the innovation which we are doing right now, which is essential. And then we moved to SAP BTP pillar. We talked about the capabilities, environments, the programming languages, runtimes, and all these things, even the framework of the applications, how we build it. Then we moved to SAP TechEd 2023 announcements, and we saw how SAP Build Code would be coming very soon, and it'll change how we develop applications. And lastly, we had some recommendations on the episode specific to the SAP BTP application development pillars. So why are we talking about automation here? In the previous episode, I have already shown you that there are various studies which say that innovation is directly linked to how your company is performing and how your stakeholders are satisfied. Now, in terms of getting the competitive advantage, you'll have to keep innovating. And automation is one of those things, one of those areas where you can innovate much more easily and make your business processes more efficient and more scalable. Now, sometimes people say that automation is always about cost reduction. Partly it's true, but it's not just cost reduction, because the benefits it has is much more than just cost reduction. Imagine you have human resource doing this tedious task every day, same thing, boring for the resource as well. If that gets automated, you can use the human mind in something which would be more creative. So it gives the resource satisfaction as well, because of cross-skilling and doing things which are different than it was for years for that particular resource. And also, it gives you the business benefit where you are streamlining your process and you are making it scalable and efficient and error free as well because it's not human. So if you have any processes that are basically boring, boring in the sense it has certain patterns, so it goes from step 1 to 10, and you have a resource doing it full time, automate it, and use the creative mind somewhere else. That could be a use case. All these things add up to better business processes, so better results for your business as well as for the resource. Now let's look at what SAP BTP has to offer in terms of automation. So in this section, we'll discuss the automation capabilities which are available, and as well as the tools and the services which we can use on SAP BTP to automate our boring tasks. In terms of SAP BTP automation pillar capabilities, you have a very enhanced version of workflow management where you can decide how your tasks are going to be completed. So you completely design the process and then you decide what stages it should go through, where it should go through, and how it should go through, all by using low code, no code solutions. We'll come to tools and services later and we'll tell you how you can do that. You have intelligent robotic process automation to automate all your mundane tasks, which generally do not need any human intervention. So there are two types here as well. You can do automations which require human intervention as well as without human intervention. Again, all completely built up in one service, and it's all drag and drop. Obviously, you'll have to code for your automation, but it's a low code offering. You also get the monitoring and analytics capabilities of all your processes. So if your process goes into error state, you can directly go into the cockpit and see why the error has occurred and how you can rectify it. You can debug it from there. You have some capabilities where you can automatically process your documents by using embedded AI services. You also have a store, so where you can just go and search for your process if it's already there. You have the kind of a baseline project and you can build on top of it. So all these capabilities are in one tool, which is low code solution from SAP, and it's called SAP BTP's SAP Build Process Automation. In terms of the automation runtimes, which is basically the force behind all your automation which runs on SAP BTP, you have runtimes specific to workflows, then to robotic process automation. So we call it automations only. You have the embedded AI services and the document processing runtimes as well. And you have something called business rules where you can just manage your business rules, and you can also define your decisions. So we'll come to those in the next slide. So where do we start? We always start a kind of automation project in a process design studio, which is part of SAP Build Process Automation. So in terms of service, we are using SAP Build Process Automation, and when you go into the cockpit, you can create projects for automation where you can get the process design studio. Now here, the first thing which you do is you define your whole process. So all your building blocks, like these are different steps. How are they connected? What is the step type? For example, whether it's approval or something else. So it basically gives you the graphical user interface, which is very intuitive, and you can easily create your whole process in the process design studio. Now, in terms of the artifacts, like the steps, we basically have forms. Forms are, again, graphical user interface where you can just drag and drop fields, be it in input box or it's just a table, or it can be combo box. There are different UI options available. You can build it. Why do we build forms? Basically, because you can create or you can initiate your automation from there, or you can do forms for approvals. So when your process is in approval stage, it goes to one person. That person basically uses those forms to approve it or reject it or just action on it. You can also do decisions. So in a tabular form, you can define all your conditions, rules, and you can do decisions on top of it. You have actions. You can also give personalized recommendations based on machine learning. You have automation, which is the intelligent robotic process automation, where you can automate different things. For example, monitoring email mailbox, or maybe just creating users in SU01, which does not require a human to do because it's just predefined steps. um, and there are many use cases over there. For example, you're maybe kind of a bot that helps your support teams to reset the password of the users as and when they get the request. So these are some of the use cases for automation. You have the process visibility in terms of your process visibility cockpit and the dashboards. You can monitor all your processes, how it has gone through, whether it's stuck somewhere. If it is stuck, then what is the reason why it's stuck? So you can debug your processes there as well. And as I said earlier, you have store where you have predefined content, pre-built content, and you can use it as an artifact in your project. So all these are kind of in one tool, and you can access it very easily. In terms of approvals, it directly goes to the actors, or the person who is going to approve or reject the task. It goes to one central inbox that is called Task Center. So that is also embedded in the same cockpit. However, you have the option to use it as a tile on the launchpad and give it to users who are approvers or who can action the tasks which are for them. In the last slide, I discussed about where do we start. So we generally start in a process design studio, but that is only for developers or someone who is working and defining the processes, business rules, decisions, or all those things which I talked about in the last slide. So it is for, let's say, a citizen developer. I would not say a pro code developer because it's a low code tool. But how do you consume it? How your end users consume it? So if your process starts with a form, obviously they'll start with a form, maybe a tile on the launchpad that just opens up a form, and then they can start the process. So that's basically the trigger. So your end users will start with that form. However, generally, in 95% of the cases, this is not the case. So generally, all these automations start either with a scheduled job or with a kind of application. So, for example, leave request application. All employees get that application. When they submit, it goes to their manager for approval. Now, this could be a case for automation which is triggered using the leave request application. So it's not a form, it's basically a full fledged application that triggers one of your processes. So that could be one thing, but forms can be used in, let's say, in internal teams, just as a quick win, quick solution to start a process, or if you're doing any POCs. Now, when these tasks are, let's say, pending for approval or pending for any action, then these basically reside in SAP Task Center, which is a central inbox for all your tasks. And it's a good user experience as well to give your end users just one inbox where they can process the tasks. So these two things, SAP Task Center for all the approvals or action on the processes, and the forms to trigger, or the application to trigger your automations. This is where your end users consume the automation. I've already mentioned this in one of my previous slides, but just reiterating the tools and the services we use for automation. So, the first one, where we create processes or define the tasks, is basically SAP Build Process Automation. And that is where you get your process building studios as well, and all your monitoring capabilities and task center and everything. You can create your project from there. But to run these automations, specifically intelligent robotic process automation, where you're automating your boring tasks, you need an agent, and that agent basically lives, or it gets installed on your one of the PCs where you want to run the automation. This is not to be confused that it needs to be installed in all the terminals. It can just get installed in one of your, let's say, servers, which is basically having the runtimes and everything that can, and the resources that can run that particular automation. Like I said, for user experience perspective, we do not generally give the triggers of the process automation from a form. So you might have to share the APIs with a professional developer, and the professional developer can either use Business Application Studio or any other IDE. However, it can also be integrated with SAP Build Apps, which is a low-code, no-code solution. And also, if you're using your process automation trigger as a form, then work zone could be a good start, because you'll be exposing your forms as a tile on the work zone where your end users can go in and start the process. So these are some of the tools which we use in the automation segment. So now you know about SAP BTP automation pillar capabilities and different tools which you're using for that. Let's discuss TechEd 2023 announcement. So let's review it and see what impact it will have on how we do automation projects, and we'll see it one by one. Now, this could be a repetition, but as I have said in all my previous episodes, TechEd 2023 was all about infusing AI into all the SAP BTP pillars. It's not just AI as a standalone pillar, but it got infused into all the tools and services we use on SAP BTP. Automation is again not an exception, and we'll start with Joule, because Joule is the one which is reshaping automation projects. So by now we all know what Joule is. Joule is basically the generative AI copilot in the SAP cloud ecosystem, which will be basically integrated in all the cloud enterprise portfolio of SAP BTP. We have seen Joule doing SAP BTP sub accounts, entitlements, user management, all these things. And it is now part of SuccessFactors, and the plan is to embed it in the whole cloud portfolio. And in automation, Joule is basically defining or redefining how we create projects. So, SAP Build Process Automation, when we start with Process Builder, Joule can help us in generating the process within minutes. So, we just need to write what our process would be in simple English, which is again the prompt, and Joule will basically generate it from scratch so that you have the baseline and you can build upon it. So, how will it impact what we do right now? So, now that we do everything from scratch, at least we'll have something as a baseline, and then we'll enhance it, which means that developers are being empowered here. So, we can do our things quickly, which is quick application development or automation development. Less effort saves you money and saves your effort. So where should our focus be? There are four things. Look out for the release of Joule, because Joule will be redefining how you do your automation projects. And basically look out for how efficient Joule is in generating your project based on the prompts you have given. If it's not, refine your prompts and see if Joule has done things right or not. Um, the second thing I would say is human resource is basically much more creative. So the resource should not be restricted to doing sequential, tedious, and boring tasks, which can be automated easily. So look out for those use cases, implement it, try and showcase it in your organization, to see if people are okay for automation or not. The third thing I would say is the workflows which you build in SAP GUI, maybe lift and shift into cloud, just because it's easier, and you can do everything what you can do in SAP GUI. So move towards cloud. And the last thing is try out the central inbox where all your tasks reside, and try to integrate that central inbox with different task types, not just the automation ones. So these are the four areas I would say to look out for in terms of automation. So this was the fourth episode on automation. Coming up next are data and analytics, artificial intelligence, and integration. These are basically the remaining pillar episodes, and then we'll wrap it up with all the recommendations in one episode. So stay tuned and keep watching Modish Tech. You can watch all these episodes on my YouTube channel. The handle is Modish Tech Digital. Make sure you subscribe to it and hit the bell icon, because then only you get the notification when the new video is out. Thanks a lot for watching this episode, and obviously I'll see you in the next episode. But till then, look out and browse for different videos which I have posted on the channel. If you like it, please share it within your network.